Welcome back to my channel, and today I want to show you something a little interesting. Protests in South Africa. Now, I'm not actually going to show you a protest. What I'm going to show you is just the aftermath. Now, behind me is what we call the Tower Mall. It is way back over that bridge. I'm not going to go there because it is a bit of a hot spot at this stage. Though it should have cleared up by now, I don't trust it. It's one of those areas you want to avoid if you're not part of the protesting crowd. Now, unfortunately, in South Africa, we have protesters and then we have protesters. Now, the current strike situation in South Africa is by a trade union group. What interests me are those people who are not members of that trade union who still take part in this strike action. We were promised as a community that we will have no strike action in this area. The trade union said, well, you are not part of the planned area and you will not see any gatherings and you will not see any strike action because it is not an area within the sphere of the strike. Yet, Klerksdorp this morning had this area. Now, there's a little pedestrian bridge just over the hill there, I don't know if you can see it, where at that crossing the road was completely blocked off, which meant that people traveling to the next town were unable to reach their destination. Now, unfortunately, this road is also one of the main arteries between us and the Cape Province. So a lot of traffic, trucks and supplies need to come through here. And I feel these people here knew that. And they purposefully just block it off because why? They can use Nahawu as an excuse and blame them and blame the strike for their criminal acts and their looting. Now, just across the bridge on that left hand side, just behind that water tower which you see right there, we get the Tower Mall, which is part of Joburton. It's Joburton's main mall. It's a pretty big mall. It's pretty new as well, and there was some looting there. And there's a shop called Choppies. They rushed in there and they looted. Now, unfortunately, my opinion says that is pure criminal. It had nothing to do with protesters, the protesting action, or their goals for the protesting action. That is pure criminal. They broke into various little tuck shops and other shops, and they looted and they stole the people's goods and wares. Why? Because they can use the protest as an excuse for criminal acts. And unfortunately, it is as if the police allow them to get away with it. We have police standing back and watching these crowds, and these looters, they are not protesters, they are pure looters, join in masses and start looting, and the police can do absolutely nothing about it. So my opinion is that which we saw today back here in Klerksdorp, and I'm going to add some other things further on to add to this article or this vlog. It's pure criminal act. It's got nothing to do with protesting or trying to bring across a goal. It is pure criminal. Now, unfortunately, we also have another element to this whole thing, and that is false news, false information. People who seem to thrive on panic. They have an addiction to panic and stress and wanting to stress other people out. Why? I've got no idea why. But there seems to be an idea in the community that I have spread this information, I've done something, whether that information is true or not. And it's a rant, but it is, I think, justified. People must stop spreading information which is untrue. If the information is not true, you are going to create panic. And unfortunately, I know there are those people who love to create panic or build on that panic, but you know, it's unfair. You get businesses. We've got an entire Klerksdorp CBD which is closed down because people panic, and it is unfair because you have loss of income, you have people who have loss in their salaries because, you know, these days get deducted if they don't go to work, and you have a company now who has to pay workers for no work done. Anyway, that's the end of my rant. See the further on in this video, I'm going to actually show you what I recorded this morning, and some reports which turned out to be completely false. Think a little bit, guys. Don't spread false and unverified information. There's so many conflicting reports, and I feel that a lot of people are causing panic for absolutely nothing. So I'm here in the middle of town on my way to the court building, where it has been reported that there is a large gathering and that they are trying to shut down the court building. There's even been reports that the court buildings have been evacuated. The middle of town, this is our civic center, and the court building is just around the corner. Now, it's debatable how many of these people are actually part of the protesting group. I'm going to cross the road to the other side so we can see what it looks like. They haven't closed down the road or anything at this stage. A group of protesters. Oh, there we go. There we go. That is our full group of protesters. This group actually looks to be protesting to free someone who is involved in a court case. This doesn't seem to be part of the national strike thing. Now, as we saw there, those protesters seem to be completely unrelated to the national strike. Messages that have been going around that the court buildings have been closed down, etc., are totally exaggerated. It's now 10:37 in the morning. A lot of people seem to exaggerate any kind of information they get, and it causes panic, and it's unfair. It was reported that the Park Street Clinic, the road is blocked off by protesters, yet there's nothing here. In a similar report, we also got information that the Choppy Centre in near the taxi rank in Klerksdorp was being looted, and we drove in and into the parking area, and there was virtually no one there. We did however discover that the Choppy Centre was closed down by management because of panic which had been created by these false reports. The doors were closed. It was also reported that at the Klerksdorp hospital there are hundreds of protesters gathering, 100 to 150, and they are planning to block off the road, etc. And yeah, we drive past the side of the hospital and in front, and there's not a protester inside. So people should really only spread information which they have verified and which comes from verified sources. Please do not spread information which has been unverified. It just causes panic.